Hello students, this is question number 15 from homework number 11. The topic is estimating the population proportion. And in this question, I will help you determine the sample size. The question says a political candidate asks you to conduct a poll to determine what percentage of people support her. If the candidate only wants a 1% margin of error at a 95% confidence level, what size of sample is needed? To answer that question, I'm going to go to an Excel sheet and I want to collect some information. So I know that the level of confidence she wants is 95% and p hat is not given. So I'm going to assume that p hat is 50%, which is 0.5. So if p hat is given, use that p hat. If it's provided from a previous study, use that one. If it's not provided, assume it is 50% and we're going to use 0.5. And then the margin of error is 1%, so I'm going to write it as a decimal, 0.01. And then alpha, in this case, the confidence level is 95%, so alpha is 5%. I'm going to turn that into a decimal as well. And I know that alpha divided by 2 is 0.025. Now, the formula for the sample size says n is equal to p hat times 1 minus p hat times z sub alpha divided by 2 divided by the margin of error and then all squared. So apparently I will need to calculate the critical value. Again, I'm going to draw the region. So here's my normal distribution. And here's the value of negative z sub alpha divided by 2. I could find z sub alpha divided by 2 by finding z sub negative alpha divided by 2 and then multiplying the answer by negative 1. So I know that the area in both tails is equal to 5%. That means the area in one tail, which is alpha divided by 2, is equal to 0.025. I computed that right here. This is alpha divided by 2. To find this number that is the cutoff for the bottom area, I'm going to use the function norm dot s because I'm talking about z-scores. And this is the standard normal distribution. And I'm going to use the inverse function because I was given the area to the left of the number and I wanted to find that number. And then I'm going to put the area right here and compute it. I'm going to compute that here. That is equal to, I'm going to put the negative right away, because I know I will get a negative number and I don't want the negative z sub alpha divided by 2. I want the positive one. So I will put the negative right away and the norm dot s dot inverse of 0.025. And that is the critical value. Now I'm going to compute the sample size right here. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to compute it right there. And that is equal to, I see that I have p hat. So I'm going to click on the cell that has p hat times, open parentheses, 1 minus p hat. So I'm going to click on p hat again. And then times, open parentheses, z sub alpha divided by 2. I'm going to click on the cell that has z sub alpha divided by 2 divided by margin of error. So I'm going to click on the cell that has the margin of error. And I need to raise that to the second power. So I'm going to say shift and then number 6. That will give me the caret sign. And then I will type in number 2. That is how you're going to raise it to the second power. And then you click enter. The sample size here is 9,603.64. Since we're talking about the sample size, that means the sample required for a confidence level 95% with a margin of error 1% is bigger than that number. So I'm going to choose 9,604 instead. You're always going to round up no matter what the number you get here. Even if you get 0.04 or 0.01, you're going to round up because that indicates that we needed a bigger sample and we're going to increase one item to our sample. I'm going to copy this answer and paste it to my answer box and check my answer. The answer is correct. I hope this video helped you and I will see you in a different one.